welcome to the weekly World Climate Change News. I'm Alexandra, and today I will speak about the following. Wildfires cause a state emergency in the US. Israel to reduce emissions by 85%. Developing nations need funding to fight climate change. Mercedes-Benz aims to go all-electric by 2030. Increase in water-related fatalities due to climate change. Zimbabwe experiences funding woes to adapt to climate change. EU introduces new carbon tax. So shall we begin? Wildfires cause state of emergency in the US. Due to the ongoing wildfires in the US, many states have declared emergency situation as firefighters continue to battle and support people to evacuate. According to the authorities, a total of 88 wildfires are active throughout the country. It is estimated that 1.4 million acres have burned as a consequence so far. Extreme fire behavior, dry fuels, and unstable atmosphere combined are likely to form the tornado. Climate change is making devastating wildfires more and more common. Israel to reduce emissions by 85%. In line with the Paris Agreement goals, Israel has pledged to reduce carbon emissions by 85% compared to 2015 levels by 2050 to fight climate change. Most of the carbon cuts will come from the transportation and electricity sectors. The country is also setting an interim goal of a 27% emissions cut by 2030. The world has already warmed by 1.2 degrees Celsius since the beginning of the industrial era. Developing nations need funding to fight climate change. Ahead of the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow, developed nations had agreed to provide $100 billion a year to developing countries to aid in their fight against climate change. Funding is needed for poorer countries to pay for new infrastructure and technology that would allow them to adapt to the effects of climate change, a crisis that is expected to disproportionately affect developing nations. Mercedes-Benz aims to go all-electric by 2030. One of the biggest automobile brands, Mercedes-Benz, has announced the target of having an electric vehicle option for every segment in the portfolio by 2030. The company will invest over £40 billion to electric vehicles in order to reach the goal. Furthermore, it is aimed to increase the quality of charging stations through this investment. Increasing electric car share is regarded as one of the major steps for tackling climate change in the long term. Increasing water-related fatalities due to climate change. A new report by the World Meteorological Organization has found out that of the 10 disasters causing the most human fatalities in the past 5 decades, droughts top the list with some 650,000 deaths across the globe. The report estimates that floods and storms resulted in the largest losses in Europe in the past 50 years, at a cost of $377.5 billion. According to experts, weather, climate, and water-related hazards are increasing in frequency and intensity as a result of climate change. Zimbabwe experiences funding woes to adapt to climate change. The national government of Zimbabwe is trying to adapt vulnerable communities to climate change calamities despite the scarcity of funds. According to the emergency's official report, around $60 million are required to respond to the effects of flooding in Zimbabwe. In recent years, Zimbabwe has been extremely vulnerable to cyclones as a result of bad construction planning and a lack of preparedness. And now climate change will increase the intensity and frequency of these events. EU introduces new carbon tax. In July, the European Union has finally presented its long-anticipated carbon border adjustment mechanism regulation. The proposed mechanism aims to protect the bloc from carbon leakage from taxing imports based on greenhouse gas emissions produced during the goods manufacturing process. European leaders believe that this would encourage countries to limit their greenhouse gas emissions. If approved, the proposed tax would signal the first limit on carbon in traded goods globally, setting an important precedent in the fight against climate change. Thank you for watching. This was Alexandra for the Weekly World Climate Change News. I hope you find this interesting, and if you do, give a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and see you here next week.